Of course. Yes, sir. No, it is not. I mean, it's either.
I don't know. She might. That's right. Good evening, Forest Hill. How's everybody doing? Thank you all for moving forward. It makes it a little bit easier than everybody sitting in the back. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I want to thank Matt Fowler for coming tonight. Gosh, Matt, I've known you for a long time. Gosh, probably 15 years or so. Because we knew each other before you served at Unity. I think we had met. Yeah, but I think we had met before then. Yeah. So Matt's a dear, dear friend. If you know Jim Snyder from the association, he is married to one of his 3 daughters, his middle daughter. He's married to Kelly. So just a really sweet family. We think highly of them, and they are doing some great work. She is at CAK. She's at CAK in second grade. Teaching second grade over there. So just a really special family. He's served in different churches throughout the county. He's at the Guard on drill weekends. Just a really interesting. I say young man. You're slightly younger than me, so you're a young man. You're a young man. That's right. So you got a few years. But I want to share a couple things first before we get started. I need my phone. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm on call. Fingers crossed we don't get called out. Gary is with Jim Floria at a pastor's conference down in Orlando. Jim's church, his sending church out of Crossville, had paid for him and another gentleman from Forward Church to go to this conference, and the other gentleman wasn't able to go. So he contacted Gary, let's say Thursday or Friday of last week, and asked if he would be interested in going, and he said, yeah, sure. And because this is how God works, he had been talking to Matt. I had already been talking to Matt probably about a month ago. We had spoken on the phone and texted back and forth, and I'd actually scheduled him already to come tonight to talk to our youth just about camp and opportunities there. And then Gary was like, hey, I'm going to be gone on Wednesday the 9th. Do you think he might want to come and share a little bit about camp then? And so I texted him, and he said, let's do it. So that is how we've gotten to here. I do want to share a couple things real quick. There are events coming up this weekend, church events. There's the men's breakfast coming up this weekend. And then there is no Sunday night church this weekend. Gary had mentioned, I believe, on Sunday night that he is encouraging you to get with another family, get with another somebody or somebodies, and go eat dinner Sunday night. Just gather together. You're going to have extra daylight. Cook out. Well, probably not cook out. It is supposed to be like 40 degrees, so probably not going to cook out. But you can cook in a pot of chili, put that on before church, and you'll be good to go by that evening. So, and then just, a lot of other good things happening in the church. Don't forget next, the 20th, so 2 Sunday nights from now, we are going to Springview, a return trip from when they came here about a month ago. We will be, if anybody is interested, it starts at 6. If anybody wants to meet here, we will meet here about 5:30. And right now it looks like we only have the van, so we're able to fit about 12 people on the van if you want to come and do that. Otherwise, you can meet there 6, 5:50-ish, and we'll worship with them on that Sunday night. So one of the things that we've been doing in youth is for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and Hallie Jane can attest to this. We've been singing some songs before the lesson, but I've been trying to pick out modern songs that they hear on the radio, but give them the scriptural reference behind it. And normally over there we can play it, we can sing it, but because we're broadcasting this, we don't want to get a strike, we don't want to get reported, and for inappropriate copyright infringement by playing the song. So I am going to speak the lyrics of the song and then give you the scriptural reference behind it. There's a chance, because of how well I will speak them, that we may get a copyright infringement anyways. So thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate you getting that. So the song is just as good. You may have heard it on Christian radio right now, but I want to read through some of the lyrics so that you get an idea of what it's talking about. It says, "I've been here before, my heart feels so weak, got this weight upon my chest and I can't stop forgetting. My God, that you've never left, you're right here with me. Still I'm convinced you're hiding. Oh God, would you remind me that you're still just as good as when I met you. You're still just as kind. Don't let me forget that you're still the same God that led me through the fire. You're still the same God who separates the waters. Come do what only you can do. God, I need you." It goes on to say, "You've done this before, will you do it again? Because the waves are all around me, and it feels like I'm drowning. My God, will you still reach down and give me your hand? Because even when I'm doubting, your love, it still surrounds me." And then it goes down into what I assume is the bridge of the song. And it says, "And I will build an altar and stack it stone by stone, because every Ebenezer says I've never been alone. My faith will surely falter, but that don't change what you've done, because every Ebenezer points to where my help comes from." And for those of you that are Bible scholars, you know that reference. You know what an Ebenezer is. It is a stone that the Israelites, and this comes out of 1 Samuel chapter 7, when they were surrounded by the Philistines. And the Philistines, they were afraid. They had no reason to be afraid, but the circumstances surrounding them and facing them seemed insurmountable. They had no faith that they were going to be able to get out of this situation. And they asked Samuel to pray because they didn't know what else to do. Well, that's probably a good first step. It's something we can all kind of take as an example. First step should be to pray. And they asked Samuel, they didn't do it, but they asked Samuel to pray to God to help them out in this situation. And I want to read this to you. Just a little bit of the scripture. It comes out of 1 Samuel chapter 7, starting in verse 5. We're going to start there and read through verse 12. It says, "Then Samuel said, 'Assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and I will intercede with the Lord for you.' When they assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and there they confessed, 'We have sinned against the Lord.' And Samuel was leader of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah, the rulers of the Philistines came up to attack them. And when the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, 'Do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may rescue us from the hand of the Philistines.' Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and offered it as a whole burnt offering up to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on Israel's behalf, and the Lord answered him. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to engage Israel in battle. But that day the Lord thundered with loud thunder against the Philistines and threw them into such a panic that they were routed before the Israelites. The men of Israel rushed out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines, slaughtering them along the way to a point below Bethkar." Verse 12, "Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shin. He named it Ebenezer, saying, 'Thus far has the Lord helped us.'" An Ebenezer, as you probably are well aware, means a stone of help. But it's more than just a stone of help. It is a stone of remembrance. It's a stone where when you see it, and this is actually mentioned later on in the book of Samuel, where they see this stone and they remember what took place there, how the Lord fought their battles for them. They didn't do anything. They literally did nothing. They were cowering in fear, and they said, God, help us. And God answered their cries. And because of this stone of remembrance, anytime they saw it, they would say, hey, do you remember when? Or they would go to the point where they would say, hey, do you remember? Teach their kids, I want to teach you what took place here. You see that stone over there? God did this when it seemed like there was no way out. God gave us victory. And it was only God. It was not us. It was only God. And I say all that with the lyrics, where does our help come from? I build an altar, stack it stone by stone, because every Ebenezer tells or points to where my help comes from. Camp Tipton is an Ebenezer stone in our association, in our region, in our city, in our county. It points to God's answering prayer. Because as some of you know, and some of you may have been involved, some of your family may have been involved. My grandfather was involved in helping build some of the original cabins that were there at Camp Tipton. Some of you may have been there. We had our rehearsal dinner at Camp Tipton. We have taken our kids there for their birthday party this last year to Camp Tipton. We have brought a group up from Georgia to spend a week at camp during the summer at Camp Tipton. Camp Tipton, I have been to camp there as a youth. My youth pastor, we did a weekend retreat up at Camp Tipton. To me, and to our association, and you may not even realize that it's here. You may have never heard of Camp Tipton. We have an Ebenezer stone in our own backyard that is crying out to people saying, God is good and God is faithful and God will do some awesome, incredible things God did some awesome and incredible things, and he will continue to do those things. Camp Tipton stands as that remembrance, that thing that we can look back on and say, God was faithful when he brought that idea to men and women's hearts and minds, and then he saw it through. And from where it started to where it is today, and where Matt is going to take it, and where I truly believe God is blessing Matt and Kelly and his staff to take camp is incredible. I'm so very encouraged by what I see, by what I have seen, and by what Matt has shared with me. And I think that what he's going to share with you all tonight, you also will be encouraged. He's got a little slideshow that he's going to share with you as he shares about camp. So just a quick little thing. When we brought our group up from Georgia to camp that week, we brought up probably about 10 to 12 kids, 4 chaperones. Yeah, high school kids. And so the boys during that week of camp, and I don't want to steal some of your thunder, but the boys during that week at camp, there were 5 of us, 2 chaperones, 3 boys. We went and did service projects throughout all of Blount County. We were up in Townsend one day. We were over in Alcoa one day. We were out in Louisville one day. And then I think we worked around camp one day. And we got a chance to experience that while the young ladies and the female chaperones, they stayed at camp and helped out in the day camp that went on during the summer. And to hear their stories and to see the pictures of what God was doing during that week of camp was just an awesome reminder of how good God is and how much he does love us and how much he does care for us. And so I wanted to share this song with you, but also the scripture reference to let you know that Camp Tipton does stand as that Ebenezer stone. It is a stone of help to young people all over this county that maybe need a place, maybe need a little bit of structure, maybe need a little bit of help that camp can provide. So join with me as we welcome Matt Fowler. You can clap. Yeah.
All right. right, can everybody hear me? I don't know if I can follow up after that. So appreciate you talking me and my wife and camp up so much. So this one's going to be pretty informal. So, I mean, if you have questions or anything during it, feel free to shout out, jump around, thumbs up, whatever's church appropriate. So I'll leave it in your all's hands. So just a little about myself, just so that you all kind of know who I am, where I come from. I know Andy spoke about it a little bit. I think we interned together for about 10 weeks as well, too, for youth ministry. But I didn't grow up in Maryville. We moved here whenever I was 12 from Louisville, Kentucky. So most of my family still live there. I've got 2 brothers, an adopted younger sister. One of the brothers live here. Both the adopted sister and my other brother, they live in other areas. And then I've got my mom and stepdad here, so I don't have a whole lot of people. It took me years to, and it took our family years to find the right church for us. We actually went to BCC, and through there, God started calling me into ministry. So it wasn't until my senior year, like right before I went to college, that I absolutely knew, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I didn't know 100% what God was calling me to or where he was going to take me, but I knew it was towards ministry. The year prior to it, so this is just like a little snippet of my testimony. The year prior to it, I'm a really big planner, so I was going to be a pharmacist, and I had already planned out my entire college education, post-education, and in a way to do it quicker than the typical route. So I'd finish a year or two earlier than actual college. And just on a side note, I know I could have done it because in my 4 years at college, I did close to 160 hours of college to get 2 degrees. Whenever graduating is like, 128? I'm 1 class away from a 2nd degree, but I didn't get it, so it's okay. Anyways, after the senior year, I graduated. God led me to Camp Tipton. So didn't know who it was, didn't know anything about it. I was part of Blount Community Church, so they're off of Mount Lebanon, but they're not specifically in our association. And absolutely loved it. Was a camp counselor there. Worked there for 3 more years. I got to be a specific camp counselor. I got to work with their middle school camp. I got to work with the mission teams that came down. Like Andy was saying, he came from Georgia and did a mission trip with us. And I got to work one-on-one for 2 years with a kid that was autistic and give him the camp experience just because he really needed the one-on-one help. Went through, at that point, I graduated from Carson Newman with religion degree, religion minor, and a business degree, 1 language from a religion degree as well, but it's okay. And God called me into bivocational youth ministry, so I worked banking for about 5 years and then did bivocational youth ministry, some interns, some where I was the actual youth minister at Central Baptist Alcoa. I served heavily at Yoke Ministries. I've done that for close to 10 years as well. I left being Central Baptist Alcoa because TJ finished his, TJ Whitehead is my brother-in-law. He married Kelly's older sister, Kayla, and he finished seminary and took a full-time job at Broadway, and we went there to support him in his ministry, and it worked out really good because my wife got to work there temporarily and do a lot of stuff to help their children's ministry. But in the meantime, I just worked in banking, and I slowly ended up enlisting into the Air National Guard with my thought in so many years to pursue being a chaplain because I felt called to some sort of full-time ministry. Once I got back from basic training, it was literally a week in, I found out that the Camp Tipton position had opened, and immediately both my wife and myself knew, like, hey, this is where I'm meant to be. This is what God's been calling me to do. So by the grace of God, I was able to apply at the right time, and they accepted me to be camp director. And me and my wife started there about a year ago, a little less than a year, and it's been it's been a crazy year. So we definitely believe that both me and my wife are called to be at camp, and we believe we want to be there for a long time as well to help see it grow and to reach kids in our community. So that's just a little bit about me and my background, how I got to be the camp director at Camp Tipton. How many of you all have been out or heard of Camp Tipton or something? So most everybody. What, if you all don't mind sharing, like what has some of your experiences been? What have you done there? What have you thought of it? Okay, yeah, she went last year and got to do a birthday party and do our rock climbing wall inside the gymnasium. That's what she was saying. Okay, so you were involved in there probably close to 20 years ago. Yeah, 20, 25. Yeah, probably with Jim. Anybody else? Okay. Have you all done it recently? Last year, okay. Okay. Okay, so y'all are pretty familiar, it sounds like, with a lot of what we have and some of our facilities and stuff. So I guess with you all have been there, you can kind of see like condition of camp. You know, it's a whole lot to keep up for one person to do, so it's easy for it to escape grasp of it. So when me and Kelly came in, the first thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to revamp camp. So we have done the best that we can in the last year to repaint things, fix things, get mulch in our playground, put landscaping out, make sure that things look aesthetically pleasing whenever you come in for multiple different reasons. One, because we want to be good stewards of what God has blessed us with in the association. And then two, it opens up Camp Tipton for more opportunities to share the gospel with people, because you don't want to go to a camp that, you know, looks a little run down as well. And it's kind of been put in the back burner for the last so many years, unfortunately, but we're hoping to put it in the forefront and make it grow a whole lot. So if you'll go forward, some of you all probably know some of this, but it may be a reminder for some of you all. You may learn something new. But our mission at Camp Tipton, we exist to honor God and His Word by partnering with churches and the association and outside of the association in evangelism and discipleship training through quality camp, conference, and outreach ministries. So it seems like most of you all are familiar with the association. So Forest Hill is part of the Chilhowie Baptist Association, and we are one of the ministries of the Chilhowie Baptist Association. So you all give so much money to the association to be in the association with close to 75 other churches. Jim does like a lot of things for our pastors. He does mission trips that are cross churches. So it helps bring our churches together, because you can do a whole lot more in a group of people than just one church individually. So through camp being an associational ministry, that makes us one of your all's ministries as well. And you all know that is probably better than some of the other churches, because it seems like you all have done a lot of stuff there and helped build cabins and that kind of stuff as well. So some of the stuff that we do during the summer, we have day camps and overnight camp. We're doing overnight camp for the first year this year. We've introduced it. We're doing 4 weeks. And during day camp, we want to keep what we do Christ-focused. So our main goal is to share the gospel with kids, to hopefully plant seeds in them, to develop them so that hopefully we'll have future Christian leaders in Blount County and around the world. And then get their families involved, and hopefully get them pointed towards churches in the association as well. Being a kid today, I would not want to be a kid right now. So right now it is, I don't know how it was 100 years ago, but it seems like right now is the hardest time to be a kid and grow up. So there's so many parents that are divorced. I think the divorce rate's over 50% now. There's so many kids learning different things from TikTok and Instagram and other social media platforms that tell them truth is relative. You can make up your own truth, and as long as it applies to you, that's okay, which we know is wrong. But if this is what their parents or their friends or their mentors are telling them, it's hard to know what to believe and what to follow. So we want to be that group of people that says, oh no, there's actually a truth. It's Jesus Christ, what he has done for us, and how you can achieve salvation and be part of a greater family as well. So that's kind of what we focus on at our day and overnight camps. We also are starting to host retreats in the fall and the spring as well. Andy's helped plan one that's coming up in April. We're having a family retreat where families get to go out, worship for a night and a day, do some fun activities, and grow closer to Christ. And then in the fall, we're planning a lot like father-son, father-daughter, mother-son, mother-daughter, where two people specifically can come out and you can mentor your children and help them grow closer to Christ and closer in a parent-child relationship as well. So I'm sure he's already told you all about the family retreat, but if he hasn't, there'll be flyers that come out. And look forward to that, and then look forward to retreats later in the year as well. Then in off time, we do facility rentals, and then we also host mission teams during the summer as well that come in and do some of the things that Andy talked about. They do evangelism on the Dragon. They work with their day camp. They do local light construction ministries, help out some of our churches. I know last year we painted one of the churches in the association inside and outside that needed a little bit of TLC, and they weren't able to afford people to be able to do it. So that's kind of what our ministry is. What I'm trying to do, because mine's a little different than the last camp director, is a little different than the last camp director. So during the summer, I want to make our focus reaching out to our community. So what we really want to do is reach the kids in Blount County and surrounding counties that come here as well. And then in the off season, we want to make it profitable for the association and the associational churches, so that you all and your families and your kids can have a low-cost, fun place to grow closer to Christ. All right, so a little more information specifically about our day camps, because that's kind of like our biggest thing during the year. We've got elementary day camp and middle school day camp as well, where they get dropped off in the morning and picked up at the end of the night. They run for 10 weeks. We focus on Christ the entire time. Elementary's finished grades K through 5th, and middle school is finished grades 6th through 8th. So we've got two kinds of middle school camp. One is a service camp where they spend 5 weeks, there are different weeks during the summer, working specifically with our staff, learning to start to lead kids and helping out specifically with day camp, because every kid, whenever they're young, they want to do what the counselors do. Well, this actually gives them an opportunity where they're chaperoned, they're pushed a little bit, and they can do what the counselors do without actually being a counselor. In turn, hopefully it helps generate future counselors as well that stay at camp for a lot longer, but regardless, hopefully it helps push them in their relationship with Christ. And then we do 5 weeks of adventure camp where they actually get to go outdoors and do fun things like kayaking, hiking. We do like a Boy Scout week where they learn outdoor skills, those kind of things. And then overnight camp, like I said, this year is the first year that we're doing overnight camp. I think it is awesome. I'm really excited about it. We have great cabins that people have built, but there's not restrooms attached to them. So sometimes it makes it a little harder for certain people to be able to stay in there just because I don't know about you all, but it's a lot of walking. As I get older, I can't go through the night. I got to get up. I didn't have to do that whenever I was 18. So it gives us a great opportunity to be able to share Christ with people in a longer setting, especially since so many people are moving to Maryville. I mean, we've got more kids than ever and more families that aren't in the church, more families that are divorced, and more kids that need somebody to say, like, hey, we love you, we care about you, and here's why. And they get it for just a couple weeks, but a couple weeks is what? Yeah, it can be life-changing. So here are some of our amenities and activities. I'm not going to read them all to you all because y'all can read. I guess the new things that I'm putting in, we're putting in axe throwing. We're going to have 3 lanes there that actually have archery, axe throwing, and BB gun shooting. I've gotten rid of the horseshoes at the pavilion area, and we're going to have bocce ball, and we're going to have cornhole. I've put tetherball and 9 square down there. On our basketball court, we've repainted it so it looks a lot nicer now, and hopefully we're going to put pickleball on it at some point. We've got the fire pit area cleared up a whole lot, so if you haven't been down to the pavilion in a couple years, you're definitely invited just to come take a drive through and look at things because things are looking really, really, really good. In the gymnasium, we have the capability to do a mobile stage for worship now, and we've been able to use that for Theo Nights, which is a night of theology for college and young adults that TJ put on through Broadway that went across a whole lot of different churches, even outside of the association. And we've been able to use it for mission teams and some other groups as well. But let's see. I think that's it. Here's a couple photos so you can see how we have worship set up in the gym. So, I mean, it's actual stage. We have some curtains. We've got lights, sound system. So it's pretty fun. Here's our pavilion. We've repainted the picnic tables, so the picnic tables look really good. There's one of the cabins, if you haven't seen the cabins. I'm going to, hopefully in the next year, we're going to repaint all the cabins, pressure wash all of the decks, and make all the cabins look uniform, so they look really nice. There's our fire pit. We actually just filled it with rock that goes all the way around it as well. And if you've went in the last couple years, actually probably since it's been built, we've always had like our firewood around like a bunch of pine trees around by the playground. So we actually cleared all that out, leveled it out. There's grass there now, and we actually have a fire pit storage place so that we don't have like mice or critters close to the kids, and it looks nice. There's our rock climbing wall that she got to climb on. So next, staff. We are hiring people for staff. I need close to 15 people. So we are hiring, we've got a day camp director, we've got a middle school camp director. I'm looking for more senior counselors and junior counselors. So junior counselors are high school people that haven't graduated, that are 16 to 18. And senior counselors are more like our spiritual leaders who are a little more firm in their faith. They're in college, they're good at leading activities. They also get paid a lot more too. And I guess let me brag for a little bit. I went to a camp director conference last week for the first time and got to speak to like a lot of like the big camps that have like multi-million-dollar budgets. And we pay our staff for college age about $100 more a week than they pay their staff. So we take care of the people that work for us. So if you know somebody in college looking for a summer job that wants to share the gospel and do something fun, then we have senior counselors. If they can't commit to the whole summer, they can work 2 weeks at our overnight camps where they come and stay with us and mentor specifically to the kids that are staying overnight. And it's not a full summer engagement. They only have to do 2 weeks. Other than that, we're looking for some people to cook for us periodically, just because we do have needs for retreats every now and then. And I love cooking. I woke up at 4:30 quite a few times to cook for quite a few people. But as we go forward, I've got a lot of other responsibilities I have to do as well. And while they're with us, they get free lodging. We provide all their food. We do weekly Bible stories and studies with the staff, just because while they're there, we don't want them just leaving. We want to mentor and mold them and point them closer to Christ, especially since they're working a whole lot. We do staff outings, and hopefully we can help better develop them into young Christian leaders as well through working through us. You can go to the next one. Oh, it says it again. You can go to the next one. So how you can get involved if you want to get involved with us. So first off, word of mouth. There are a lot of people who don't even know we exist. There are a lot of people in the association that's been in the association for 20 plus years that don't know we're an associational camp and don't know that we're even there or what we do. You don't know how many people I've talked to in the last year that said, oh, I've been at yada yada church and I've never heard of you. Or I've driven by you for so many years and I've never stopped in and didn't know what you all had. So if y'all can tell people at least about day camps and overnight camps, because we want to share the gospel with them. And it's a fun, nice, safe place for kids to be during the summer as well, instead of playing video games all summer. Prayer, we want people to pray for us constantly, because that is, it makes a world of difference. We had a challenging first year at camp, but through prayer and a lot of people praying for us, we have been blessed with every need plus more that we didn't even know that we had. I've been absolutely blown away by what people have done for us in the last year to fill in for staffing or money or et cetera, et cetera. If you're at the yearly meeting that they have once a year, I think in like October, we voted in a person to work with me, so there hasn't been a second person to work for camp for a long time. Last year was the first year that we went positive through a challenging year. I still don't know how God worked it out, but he sure did, and it allowed me to hire another person, and he's specifically there to plan the retreats and to make sure that we have stuff in place for the off season for our churches to be able to attend and grow. Prayer, we actually are partnering with a lot of churches. The month of April, we're asking Sunday school classes and small group to partner with us and spend the whole month of April at least once a week at your meeting, or if you meet twice a week, praying for us specifically. And on top of that, it gives you an opportunity to donate specifically for scholarships for camp. Everything that we've done, what I'm most proud and most excited about is we've made our scholarships so much more accessible and promoted for people. So this year we're going to have the most scholarships kids that we've probably ever had. So I've actually set a goal to do 20% of registration costs, which is $25,000, because our camp is about $150 a week right now. Since I've put it online and promoted for it, we've already had 20 kids sign up. And I'm hoping to have 30 or 35 by the time that summer starts, and that we run 60 to 80 kids a week, so it'll probably be close to half the kids that come to camp will be on some sort of scholarship. And if you donate through this, then you know that any funds that you give are going directly to sending a kid to camp to hear about Christ. Volunteer work, we've got a large property and we want to look nice for summer camp. So May 14th, we're going to have a day to prepare for camp. So if you're good at weed eating or cutting trees or moving brush or something, we're going to do a lot of landscaping and just make the camp look good and be prepared for camp that's starting a couple weeks after. And also, one thing that we need is more skilled trades people that can help us out. So if you're an electrician, if you're good at plumbing, construction, contracting, multiple other things, and you want to help out at camp, I'd like to at least get like your name and number as someone I can reach out to if we need help. Because I'm not gifted at a lot of things, but skilled trades is definitely not it. So you tell me what wrench to get, I'm bringing 5 over and letting you pick. And then lastly, our staff works super, super hard. I mean, they average 70, 80 hours a week. I've put a lot of stuff in place to take care of the staff more, so they're getting mandatory breaks during the day. They get to eat lunch away from kids so that they get a break from kids while they're eating lunch. I've shortened the day a little bit for them, so they're not up from 5:30 in the morning until 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then also, I'm wanting Sunday school classes to sponsor our staff for a week or individuals so that they get nice notes that are encouraging. They get prayer from you all specifically. If the Lord leads you to it, maybe gift cards or snacks as well, but just something to encourage them to continue serving and loving on the kids. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions over anything I've went over? So y'all got a little more in-depth one than I normally do. Normally I come up and talk for about 10 minutes and I'm done, so y'all got a little more of the story. Yeah. Absolutely. So craft supplies is always really big for us. So cotton balls, markers, crayons, construction paper, ones that are like, there's lots of other things that you can get as well that the staff use. But I mean, craft supplies are one of the biggest things. Online, I do have like a list of stuff to donate now. So smaller things that are like monthly needs, and then larger things that camp needs, like at some point a new mower, or at some point we need an excavator, not an excavator, a bobcat, because we've got gravel roads and we have to redo our roads periodically. And then it also has a form where you can donate specifically online now as well. It's through the camptipton.com. There's a tab that says how to help. So there are some things like that. I'd have to look at my list to tell you more. Just yeah, and then there are some other things that we need as well that's not on it. A couple more towels and that kind of stuff is stuff that we need. I know y'all got us toilet paper and paper towels last year, and y'all got like the big bulk one from Costco, and that was really beneficial. We were able to use those throughout the whole summer. I know that you all have gotten us sports equipment in the past as well. You can also get us paint. We're repainting a lot of things. I can go to Home Depot or Lowe's with you. One of the colors we've done a whole lot has been polished silver, but I've almost exhausted where I'm going to put that at. You're painting another thing gray? The gymnasium, it's been multiple different colors for multiple years, and there's one wall in specific that they had great intentions with. They had Bible verses on it, but it was a very displeasing brown color, if you know what I mean. So we painted like the whole side of the gymnasium just the same color. So if anyone's good at painting, you can come paint trim for us, because we're trying to make all of our trim in all of our cabins and our gymnasium the same, and it's tedious. That's going to be white. I don't care what color white. I have had someone that has been there a whole lot, but not worked specifically though. In the past, someone who has worked at Southern Grace used to be a camp counselor there. I think her name's Haley Gibidowski. She's got red hair. Okay. Okay. No. That's a great idea. So I hadn't thought of that yet. Whenever we came out there to Camp Tipton, my best friend and his wife moved out temporarily in an RV to do ministry with us for about 6 months. You might know her. She was the first female motorcycle cop in the city of Maryville. So she's good friends with the owner and stuff at Southern Grace. So I appreciate that. I hadn't thought of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge when you're trying to put the two together. So you'll be learning about that for lots of years to come. So I still learn new things that validate Christianity through our history. So it's really neat. I encourage you to read more about it and ask more about to your parents as well. Hopefully, at the least, you've seen, a little bit of my heart, what I think about camp, and I honestly think that it is a fantastic ministry. I think that we have the propensity to grow and to be able to reach a lot of kids in Maryville and Blount County. So we're business-wise, we're trying to be more sustainable, to where we're self-funded, to where we don't have to rely on churches or the association giving us money to sustain us. Rather, whenever you all donate, it goes specifically to scholarships or to a project that we're doing. So. All right. Appreciate y'all having me out. If you have any other questions, you can follow up with me after.
Well, Matt, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming out. Camp is a great ministry. We had our youth retreat up at Camp Arrowwood up in Townsend about a month ago, and I love camp. I love the ministry that you all are doing, and really appreciate you coming and sharing with us tonight. Obviously, we as a church have had the opportunity to share in different things with camp, partner with camp in different areas, and this is just another opportunity with, I think, some really pointed and good leadership with a good direction going. So really appreciate you, Matt. And we will definitely be praying for you and praying for everything that's going on in camp. As we close, we definitely want to pray for Camp Tipton and everything going on there. But does anybody have any other prayer requests before we close?